Nobody ever saw Bruce Lee cry until one student witnessed something that changed his understanding of strength forever. Los Angeles, November 1967. Bruce Lee's Chinatown School. Late evening. 9 p.m., the last student has left. The studio is quiet, just the sound of distant traffic, the hum of the city, the wooden dummy standing silent in the corner, the heavy bag still swaying slightly from the last session. Bruce thinks he's alone, begins his private evening ritual, the training he does when no one is watching. Not performance, not demonstration, just truth, just Bruce and his body and the work that never ends. He starts with forms. Slow, deliberate, each movement precise, each position exact, his body moving through space like water, like breath, like something beyond physical. This is meditation for Bruce, the moving prayer, the physical philosophy. Then footwork, patterns across the floor, advancing, retreating, angling, his feet barely making sound on the wooden floor. Ghost footwork, the kind that wins fights before they start. Positioning, geometry, angles of attack and escape. Then striking. The wooden dummy, his fists and feet finding the targets. Rhythm building, speed increasing, the sound of impact filling the empty school. Regular, powerful, certain. But tonight, something is different. The rhythm breaks. Bruce stops mid-combination, stands there, fists still raised, breathing, looking at the wooden dummy, not seeing it, seeing something else, something inside, something that has no physical form. James Yim Lee's youngest student, Tommy Chen, 19 years old, is still in the building. Forgot his training bag, came back to retrieve it. He's in the back storage room when he hears something unexpected. Bruce Lee is crying. Not sobbing, not dramatic. The quiet, controlled crying of someone who's been holding something for too long, who's finally alone enough to let it out. Tears running down his face. Jaw tight, shoulders shaking slightly, the crying of a strong man trying to cry quietly. Tommy freezes, doesn't know what to do. Should he leave, pretend he wasn't there, or should he stay? Witness this? Does Bruce need someone, or would knowing someone saw him destroy something? Tommy stays, hidden, silent, watching. Bruce stands in front of the wooden dummy, crying, one hand resting against the dummy's wooden arm, not striking it, just touching it, like it's the only thing holding him up. He speaks, quietly, to no one, to himself, to the empty room. I don't know if I'm enough. 5 words, barely whispered, but Tommy hears them, feels them, like a physical impact. Bruce Lee, the fastest man alive, the greatest martial artist of his generation, the man who defeated every challenger, the man who moves like lightning and thinks like a philosopher, standing alone in his empty school, crying, saying, I don't know if I'm enough. Tommy doesn't breathe, doesn't move, witnesses something most people never see, the private face of a public legend, the human underneath the icon. Bruce continues, still to no one, still to himself. They see what I show them, they don't see what it costs. Every day I get up and I perform, I train, I teach, I demonstrate, I prove, over and over. Prove I'm worthy, prove I belong, prove they were wrong to doubt me, and I'm so tired of proving. His voice breaks, just slightly, just for a moment, then controlled again. Dad never saw me as enough. Hollywood doesn't see me as enough. The traditional masters don't see me as enough. And some days I wonder, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just pretending. Maybe everything I've built is just a very convincing performance, and underneath there's nothing. Just a scared kid from Hong Kong who doesn't belong anywhere. Bruce's hand tightens on the wooden dummy, knuckles white, then releases, opens, flat palm against the wood. But I can't stop, can't show them this. Can't let them see, because if they see this, if they see the fear, they'll know I'm not what they think I am, and everything falls apart. But what Tommy witnessed next changed his understanding of strength forever. Bruce straightens, slowly, takes a breath, deep, controlled. The breath of someone who's allowed themselves a moment of weakness and is now choosing to return to strength, not pretending the weakness didn't happen, just choosing not to live there. He wipes his face. One gesture, clean, final. Then he looks at the wooden dummy, and something shifts in his expression. The vulnerability doesn't disappear. but it transforms into something else, something harder and softer at the same time. Bruce speaks again. Different tone. Not defeated, not broken, resolved. But I am enough, not because I'm perfect, not because I never doubt, not because I'm fearless. I'm enough because I keep going despite the doubt, because I get up every day and do the work even when I'm terrified, because I choose to be here, to teach, to build, to create. That's enough. That has to be enough. He picks up his training, resumes the wooden dummy work, but different now, not proving, not performing, just training for himself, because he loves it, because it's who he is beneath all the proving. Tommy watches for another minute, then quietly retreats, leaves through the back door, leaves his bag, can't risk being heard, can't risk Bruce knowing he was witnessed. He drives home, can't sleep. What he saw, he doesn't know what to do with it. Bruce Lee crying, saying, "I don't know if I'm enough." The most confident man he's ever known, admitting his deepest fear in an empty room. Tommy doesn't tell anyone. Not immediately. Not for years. He trains with Bruce for 2 more years, watches Bruce every session, knowing something nobody else knows, carrying this secret, this precious, devastating knowledge. But it changes how Tommy trains, how Tommy lives, because now he understands something he didn't before. Strength isn't the absence of doubt. Strength is training anyway. Strength is getting up every day and doing the work even when the voice inside says you're not enough. Strength is choosing purpose over fear, choosing the work over the doubt, choosing to continue even when continuing is hard. Bruce Lee has fear, the same fear Tommy has, the same fear everyone has. Am I enough? Do I belong? What if they see through me? The universal human terror, the imposter syndrome that doesn't care how skilled or successful you become. The difference isn't that Bruce doesn't have the fear. The difference is what Bruce does with it. He feels it, fully, in private, in empty rooms. At night when nobody watches, he allows the fear to exist. Then he gets up and trains anyway. 3 months after witnessing Bruce's private moment, Tommy is preparing for his first public martial arts demonstration, terrified, not of the physical performance, of being seen, of people watching and judging, of not being enough. He thinks about that night, the empty school, Bruce crying, "I don't know if I'm enough." And Bruce's answer to himself, "I'm enough because I keep going despite the doubt." Tommy walks onto the stage, performs, not perfectly, but authentically, because authentic imperfect performance is better than perfect avoidance. He gets a standing ovation, not because he was flawless, because people could feel that he was real, present, genuine, not performing, being. After the demonstration, Bruce approaches him. "Good work tonight." "I was terrified," Tommy admits. Bruce looks at him, something in his eyes, a flicker of recognition. We all are. The trick is training anyway. Bruce doesn't know Tommy witnessed that night. Doesn't know Tommy carries that secret. But Tommy understands now that Bruce's words aren't performance. They're hard-won truth, bought with tears in empty rooms, with private doubts in the quiet after class. Years later, after Bruce dies, Tommy finally tells the story, hesitant, feeling he's exposing something private, something sacred, but also feeling that people need to know, need to understand what Bruce Lee really was. Not a legend without fear, a human with enormous fear who trained anyway, not an icon without doubt, a person with profound doubt who worked anyway, not a superhero without vulnerability, a man with deep vulnerability who chose strength anyway. Tommy tells the story in a martial arts seminar, 7 years after Bruce's death. 300 people in the room. Silence, complete silence, as Tommy speaks. "I saw Bruce Lee cry. I heard him say, 'I don't know if I'm enough.' And then I watched him wipe his face and go back to training, not because the fear was gone, because the work was more important than the fear. That night I understood what Bruce was teaching us, not techniques, not philosophy, something more fundamental, how to be human and keep going anyway." The room is silent for a long moment. Then a woman in the front row starts crying. Then another person. Then another. Because Tommy isn't talking about Bruce Lee. He's talking about all of them. About the private rooms where they cry. About the voices that say you're not enough. About the universal human experience of doubt and the choice to continue anyway. Bruce Lee's public face was confidence, Tommy continues. His private face was fear. Both were real, The confidence wasn't fake, but it was built on top of fear, chosen, every day, in empty rooms when nobody watched. Shannon Lee hears this story years later, doesn't doubt it, recognizes her father in it, the private man she knew, not always the legend, sometimes just her dad, scared, trying, getting up every day, and choosing to be Bruce Lee even when Bruce Lee felt impossible. My father was afraid, Shannon says. I saw it sometimes. In quiet moments, the weight of what he was carrying, the pressure of being the person everyone needed him to be, the exhaustion of constantly proving. He was human, deeply, completely human, and the fact that he felt all of that and still created what he created, still built what he built, still became who he became, that's what makes him extraordinary. Not that he was fearless, that he was terrified and kept going anyway. The student who saw Bruce Lee cry never told the story to diminish him, told it to complete him, to show the full picture, the public face and the private face, the legend and the person, the performance and the truth. Bruce Lee was afraid, doubted himself, cried alone in empty rooms, asked the dark if he was enough, and then got up, trained anyway, proved it to himself every single day, not to the world, to himself, because ultimately that's the only proof that matters. I'm enough because I keep going despite the doubt. That's the lesson, not the kicks. Not the philosophy books, not the movies. This, the private moment, the real moment, the human moment, the human moment. Bruce Lee's greatest teaching wasn't in any class he taught. It was in an empty school at 9 p.m. in November 1967, when he thought nobody was watching, when he let himself be human, when he cried and got up and trained anyway. That's strength, not the absence of tears, the choice to train through them. Not the absence of doubt, the choice to work despite it. Not the absence of fear, the choice to be enough anyway. Bruce Lee knew this better than anyone, not because it came naturally, because he practiced it every day in private, when nobody watched, except one night when Tommy Chen forgot his training bag, and witnessed the most important lesson Bruce Lee ever taught.